joined now by the host of Special Report on the Fox News Channel, Bret Baier. Good morning to you, Bret.
Good morning.
So, just before we get into the serious news of the day, we were just having this conversation about how you make news decisions. And, we struggled with it a little bit because there was this news out there which, made the Twitterverse just go apoplectic and the internet lit up. And obviously it was trending everywhere, so people were interested in it. However, it just seemed like it was sort of not a big news story when there were other things going on. I'm speaking, of course, about the Justin Bieber arrest.
Yeah.
Now, was Special Report a Bieber-free zone yesterday?
Not completely Bieber-free. We have this thing at the end of the A block called Outside the Beltway,
right,
where I check in with affiliates, what they're covering, Fox affiliates around the country. And we usually put in some pop culture stuff in there, depending on what those affiliates are covering. And a lot of the Fox affiliates obviously were covering the Bieber story, so I think it was, a 15-second.
And I'm not criticizing because I think that's what it deserved. But it's one of those things you really struggle with as a journalist, isn't it? People are talking about it, and one of the definitions of news is the stuff that people are talking about that is interesting.
That's true. It's very true, and it is a balancing act, and you kind of have to see what is news of that day. I'm not saying that any pop culture story doesn't rise to the level. There have been several that have risen to the level of taking over a whole show. That Michael Jackson story, other stories. That Notre Dame kid about the make-believe girlfriend.
Manti Te'o. Sure.
That got to the level of being covered, and you have to kind of, weigh it, and you also have to weigh what else is going on. Right now, we have so much going on that it's pretty easy to stick a 10-second reader someplace to just say, hey, this happened. Just make sure you know about it. But
we're moving on. That's right. Yeah.
Meanwhile, here's a story that we wish would get the kind of coverage that Justin Bieber gets, and that's the Benghazi story, which, of course, it continues to pop up. New revelations continue to come in, and now I see Fox News has a new poll. Tell me about it.
Yeah, there's new polls out, and they suggest that, this is not going away. And other polls that have asked the Benghazi question find things that are similar. Our poll finds that 60% of the respondents blame Hillary Clinton for what happened.
60? That's a 6-0? Wow.
28% of those blame her a great deal. Even Democrats, 38% blame the former secretary for the security failures that led, to the deaths of 4 Americans. So you also have 49% of the respondents feel that President Obama's administration used doctored talking points in the aftermath of the attack intended to shield the president politically. It's not, it has gotten past just how it's portrayed inside the Beltway, which is a non-story. It has sunk in beyond that, and I think that the Senate Intelligence Report, bipartisan report, I think that Greg Hicks' op-ed in the Wall Street Journal the other day was really interesting, in which he said essentially don't blame the dead guy because he was following orders from the State Department.
Right, and Mr. Hicks, of course, the number 2 there in Libya, correct?
Yeah, under Stevens.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't think the story's going away. Now, whether it has the political impact or power to permeate beyond this year, I don't know. We don't know what else is going to come out, but it clearly is a problem for Clinton.
Yeah, that's where I was going. It is a big problem for Hillary Clinton. If 38% say there were security failures at the State Department, and we all recognize, of course, that at that time she was Secretary of State, that is got to be very concerning to Democrats.
Yeah, I think so. And I think there are multiple efforts to try to fix that. One of them being Hillary Clinton's book out that is supposed to come out sometime this summer about her time as Secretary of State. And I assume that you'll have her take of all of this. And that will be very interesting. And to see how she plays it versus the administration and whether there's any separation there.
It is remarkable, isn't it, to see how Hillary Clinton has sort of been, I don't want to use the word protected, but she's deliberately avoided the media through this whole thing. She, of course, did do her congressional testimony in January, but that's a very controlled environment. Meanwhile, Chris Christie, with the Bridge clothing, he did a 2-hour press conference and waited until every question had been asked.
Yeah. I mean, there is just a different... I don't know. It's a different set of rules or something. This demand to hear the answers on that situation, but yet not hear anything from Hillary Clinton on either, beyond the testimony that she gave on Capitol Hill, but no interviews beyond that, and about the Gates quote of her and the political decision about the Iraq surge. You remember that? Mm-hmm. She hasn't answered about that. There hasn't been really any push to get Hillary Clinton on the record, at least that I can tell.
Yeah,
but it's a non-story. It's a story that we've answered all the questions.
Right.
That's what you get from the White House, even still.
Yeah, but we've provided these documents. We've been up to the testimony, and rightly so. They have done a lot of hearings. The problem is. A lot of those hearings were going down the wrong paths.
Well, and the media needs to have a say in this as well. Well, I'm glad you're still covering the story there at Fox News, especially at Special Report, Bret Baier.
All right.
Yeah, happy to do it. Have a good weekend.
Unafraid.
Have a great weekend. It's good talking to you, Bret. All the